For years, people have been told by authority figures, doctors, specialists, even family, that IBS is something you just have to live with. When we hear it from someone in a white coat, the subconscious takes it as truth, and the body follows that belief, keeping the same patterns in place. You might be thinking, that could never happen to me, but either way, I think you find this interesting. Imagine this: the milligram experiment in 1961, conducted at Yale University. In this chilling experiment, regular civilians were recruited with a small fee. They are brought to Lindsay Chapman Hall and introduced to a scenario where they had to administer electric shocks to a person they had met earlier who is now seated out of vision in another room. This person was part of the experiment and was just acting, never receiving any shocks. Each wrong answer on a test resulted in a button press delivering a shock. As the test progressed, the voltage increased. They could hear the person in the other room screaming in pain, but there was a man in a white lab coat calmly telling them the experiment must continue. At 300 volts, the person fell silent. At this point, 100% of participants had continued, despite knowing that 67% of participants continued up to the maximum 500 volt supply because an authoritative figure told them to. So what happens next? We look around and see millions of people managing IBS, not changing it. And unconsciously, we join that tribe, the IBS sufferers. The brain starts filtering experience through that identity. This is just who I am now. But why is this so powerful? Let's delve into the psychology of group identity with another famous study, the Solomon Asch experiment. Asch presented groups of lines to participants and asked them to match the length of a line on the left to the one on the right. Was it A, B or C? Now everyone at the table except for one was in on the experiment. They deliberately chose the obviously wrong answer. The actual volunteer, sitting at the end, saw everyone else's choice and, despite the clear evidence, often went along with the group. This demonstrates our hardwired tendency to conform to group norms, even when they are clearly incorrect. This shows how deeply we're wired not to go against the group, even when the group is wrong. We're social creatures. The tribe gives us safety, belonging and identity. You can see it everywhere. In politics, for example. In the US, Democrats and Republicans often follow their chosen authorities without ever really questioning them. And here's where it gets really interesting. If I can get you to say I am instead of I think, I can guide your behaviour in powerful ways. When your actions become tied to who you believe you are, the mind creates resistance to doing anything that conflicts with that identity. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. So if someone says, you're this kind of person who does X, you're far more likely to follow through because doing otherwise would feel wrong. That's the power of identity. And marketers use this all the time. Instead of saying, many people believe this, they'll say, you're not like them. It creates an instant us versus them dynamic and a feeling of belonging to something special. Just look at Apple. Hardcore fans proudly put stickers on their cars or laptops, even on their ThinkPads, not for logic, but to signal, I'm part of this tribe. So, once we start to identify as someone with IBS, the brain and body begin working together to keep that identity alive. But just as the mind can lock the body into stress and sensitivity, it can also unlock it. Modern science now shows that the gut and brain are in constant conversation. And when we retrain that connection, symptoms can calm, digestion can rebalance, and confidence can return. This isn't theory, it's supported by leading gastroenterology research and clinical studies in gut-directed hypnotherapy. In our free short webinar, you'll see a live audience improve their physical performance by up to 50% in just 2 minutes, simply by changing how they think. If the brain can shift the body that fast, what else could it change? I'm Freddie Pateman, hypnotherapist, psychoanalyst, NLP master practitioner. I started out on Harley Street and now work with clients worldwide via Zoom. Join our free 15-minute webinar. Discovered a method already helping many people manage IBS symptoms. No pressure, just insight and maybe a new way forward. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the webinar. Freddie.